everybody and welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. This is the back end of our black E46 M3 330. I never know what to call it. It's an M3 body with a supercharged M54 in it. Today we are going to be doing some taillights. I'm going to go over the taillights it has on it now, why we're doing new ones, and where we got these ones from. Before we do that, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Like if you enjoy this type of content. Also make sure to follow us on Instagram, Tenza_Motorsports. We do giveaways. We got some pretty exciting ones coming up, so make sure you're following us on Instagram. These taillights right here, we got from CarID, their Anzo brand. CarID is a fantastic company. I've ordered many things from them. The K-Sports on my white race car came from CarID. There has not been a single time where I look up a car where they don't have just a massive catalog of parts. Wheels, bumpers, side skirts, body kits, steering wheel, seats, instrument cluster, overlays, you name it, they've got loads of stuff. So I'll leave their link down in the description below alongside the link to these taillights. The taillights that we have on here now are the OG M3 taillights. And not only OG to this car, where these are the ones that came from the factory on this car, but the OG M3 taillight just in general. This is what the first couple of years of M3 had on it. This is more of the facelift. I don't want to say facelift. A lot of people use that word. Update. The front of the M3 never went through a facelift. It never went through a redesign like the non-M's did. It stayed the pre-facelift in the front, but the back did go through some changes. I think they changed a few things on the trunk and they changed the taillights. I think they changed the rear bumper a little bit. Don't quote me on a lot of this stuff because I don't actually know all the nitty-gritties about the different years of M3s. These ones here are just a standard bulb in the lighting housing, nothing crazy. As you can see here, this is tinted. These are done with fly eye tint. It gives it a very unique design. It's hard to tell it's actually not a tint, it's actually black vinyl with little tiny itty bitty holes punched in it, and it lets light pass through it, but it still looks tinted. And on camera, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So real quick here, I'll show you the middle taillights as well. Honestly, I don't mind the way this looks, and we probably would not have done this, but these were starting to get yellow. 20-year-old taillight is now inside most of the time, very little outdoor exposure, and they're just continuing to fall apart and degrade. So what we're gonna be doing today is removing these and putting in the new ones. This is not a complicated project. One thing, I do not have my interior, I do not have the carpeting inside the trunk. So unfortunately I can't show you how to do that, but there's loads of videos on it and it's really just a couple clips. And to get at the taillight, if you're really just wanting to do it quick and not have to tear out everything, you can just kind of peel the carpet back from the side, get at it, and that's how I've always done it. I've never actually removed the side pieces doing the carpet inside the back of the trunk while doing a taillight swap. So let's get these out. But first, let's go unbox the taillights. Opening up the taillights, nothing too crazy, lots of bubble wrap, which is good. Here is one of the inner lights, ones that sit on the trunk. And as you can see, these are smoked as well. The reason that I always do this is because I think it just makes the car look just a little bit better. I don't like going super dark. The fly eye tint, in my opinion, that what was on the car is actually just a little dark in my personal opinion, but I think it makes the car look great. This will completely change the rear end of the car. Without even turning on the lights, it'll make it look completely different. I'm excited to get that shown on camera here in just a moment. Let's pull out the outers. All right, and there is the outer. I think that looks absolutely fantastic. This is my favorite taillight, and it just happens to be that it's an OEM taillight. The only difference is this is normally just a super white chrome here on the top, and this has a very slight smoke to it. I think this looks absolutely fantastic as it is, and I think it'll be something like that. Now, one other thing before we get these installed is that these actually do come with the inverters and converters and whatever else you have to do to get LEDs to run on these cars. I don't know how many of you are old enough to know, but back in the day, things did not come with all this. What would happen is you'd buy LED stuff, and you'd go put it in, and your car would throw error messages on the dash saying, hey, there's a light bulb out. And the reason for that being is you have a signal out to your incandescent bulb, which has a certain amount of resistance through it. It goes through the bulb back to the dash, and whatever voltage is left over after the bulb used up that power, the car then knew that either there was a bulb there or, you know, or that was working or burnt out. It knew what was going on. LEDs don't take anywhere near the power of an actual filament bulb, and they don't get nearly as hot, they last longer, all sorts of stuff. And so what you have to do is you have to have these installed in the car to trick the computer system into telling the computer, hey, there are lights in the back. Just because you can't see them, there are still lights back there. So basically these boxes just trick the computer so it doesn't throw a dash light all the time. So I'm gonna grab a couple 10 mils, we'll go back over to the car. All right, excuse me for not remembering how the carpet goes on these cars. I haven't seen it for a while. I don't think there's an access to this, but once you get the carpet removed enough, there'll just be clips around the edge. You'll take this clip here, pulling it towards you. You should be able to get that to release. Now you will be holding on to this because this is the only part of the whole new system that is still the older style bulbs. From here, you can see there's a 10 millimeter there. This little bracket here pushes up against the back of the trunk, and that's what holds this in. So we'll be taking this off to remove the taillight the rest of the way, and then once we're to the point of putting the new one on, which does have a new bracket, so that's this piece here, that's the nut you'll be loosening to get it off, you'll then slide the new one in and tighten it up. Now keep in mind this does have these little hooks on it, so you'll just kind of roll it around this edge so you can get those to hook in and see those there. And then here is that stud hanging down. Now that we have it tightened up, I'm going to just check to make sure that it fits properly. Looks good. And then we will pop this back on. With this back into place, we're done. The inner tail light on the trunk is done. You'll repeat on the other side. Let's go down here to the tail light. This is another one that is super easy to do. Back when tail lights weren't part of the rear bumper or whatever they're doing now, you'll come over to the interior light, and same thing, there'll be kind of like a clip. You can see it there. Pull it towards you, that slides out. And then we can see 1, 2, 3 nuts that we'll be removing, and the tail light will then pop out. There you go, there's the old tail light out. I'm gonna remove the backing on this one, and I'll get this one into position to put in. All right, just want to show real quick how I ended up putting these boxes in here. I just put them behind this rail and zip tied them. I didn't take the double back tape off. I just got this cheap free bag of zip ties from Harbor Freight, and you can just zip tie the heck out of them, and then you don't have to worry about it. The carpet fits here, you'll never see it again, but make sure you've got enough on there that they're not going to break loose, and then they'll come down here and they'll rattle, and eventually I would assume that they would break. I think that's a good spot for them. It looks nice out of the way. So let's shut the trunk, I'll turn on the lights, and we'll get to see what these look like. All right, everybody, final thoughts. There's no comparison. These look better. It makes the car look newer. It just is, in my opinion, this is the best upgraded taillight. This looks the most classy, most original when you do this upgrade here. Now, as I talk about these lights, in your guys' head, just it's interchangeable with the ones that aren't smoked. I think the same thing about the chrome ones. They make your car look fantastic, classy, original, all that. Huge thanks to CarID. These Anzos are fantastic. I would buy these every single time. I know my car builds get a little bit repetitive because I have a style and I like sticking to it. This is one of them. Again, link to this down in the description below. If you're gonna get new taillights, these are the way to go. That's literally how close they were to falling apart. I noticed that when I was pulling them out, and this one had been moving around as I was wrapping it. So thanks again so much for watching. Again, big thanks to CarID. Comments or questions down in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about these taillights. Let me know if you like the LEDs, you like the original. Should I have tried to save these? I think that if I would have gone with this style, if I'd have stayed with this style, I would have had to get new taillights anyways. They're getting that old. 25 years old here really soon, and these are just time to get rid of. We'll see everybody in the next video.
Bam!